Each week, we take a look at everything going on in the world of candy and give you an idea of what we need to pay. What? Blah, blah, blah. What's up, Candy fam? My name is Nate, that's David, and this is the Talkin Candy weekly update. Each week, we sit down and give you an idea of what you should be paying attention to in the world of candy. And while we each have collections of our own, none of this is financial advice. We are just having a good time. David, how you doing?
I'm doing good, Nate. Doing good. Glad to be here again. I'm ready to talk candy.
Yeah, we took a week off last week. It's been just a little bit of a busy end to the summer, so focusing on a couple other things, real life things, but excited to be back talking about this. We've had a few things go down over the last couple weeks, some things to take a look at that have happened and that are in the middle of happening. So we're going to take a look at kind of where the Cal Ripken drop stands now that the snapshot has been taken on all of those epics, as well as Titan Week number 8 happened this morning as of recording. And we also have some new collection challenges, the Player of the Month collection challenges. So we're going to take a look at those as well. But as we do, let's quickly take a look at some sales to start here. Some big sales that we've seen. This one's a little bit older at this point. This was from August 24th, but we saw the Serial 1 Epic Mookie Betts from 2021 move at 2,700. One of the bigger sales that we've seen in a while. So that was pretty cool. We also saw the Aaron Judge 1 of 100 go for 2,500. This was the day following on August 25th. So two pretty mammoth sales compared to a lot of what we've been seeing lately. And then there were a couple others too. We saw the Ohtani number 6. Didn't tweet these out, but the Ohtani number 6 epic from 2021 went for 4,200. We saw the Serial 1 of both Hader and Arenado go for $1,000 each. Those don't really make sense when sitting side by side. Not really sure what happened there, but worth noting. We saw some Adley epics go, obviously, for his Titan burn. And then I think that there was one other one, or yeah, a couple more of these 21 epics. So Altuve number 1 went for 1,100. Real Muto number 1. So a bunch of big serials here. The Adam Frazier Perfect went for 500, and Tatis, he's kind of fallen out of grace here. His prices are down absurdly low compared to where they were, but for good reason. And then Acuna number 7 went for 2,000. So a lot of movement on the 21 epics. Cool to see. And yeah, as we have done, like to look at those. And then you can see this Harper here. The number 3 went for 1,100. So big movement there on a Harper Titan. But yeah, those are kind of the big ones that have happened over the last couple weeks here. With that, let's start by just taking a look at these challenges, because I think that it's a pretty quick little topic here, but it's something new, something that Candy has not done yet, at least in this version of it. We've seen collection challenges already, but it's all been full set type challenges so far. This is the first thing that we've had of this nature where it's a smaller subset collection, and this obviously is playing off of the Player of the Month. So I don't know if you want to jump in here. I know that you took a stab at this. I was on vacation, didn't have a chance to jump on it when it first happened. But what's your take on this?
Well, I think the first thing is that a lot of us just had kind of a sigh of relief to see a challenge come to fruition at all. We've been waiting for any type of challenge, and don't know if these are going to be regular things. Ideally, we'd be getting something like a weekly challenge, or different types of challenges for different types of collectors. But this is the first of its kind from Candy, and they did follow the kind of model of having an easy, medium, and hard tier of completing the challenge. And before I say anything negative, I'm just glad that we have a challenge and that this is something that they can leverage moving forward and give us more like this, maybe just tuned a little bit better. One of the issues I have with it is that even though it's broken down into supposedly an easy, medium, and hard tier, they give you 8 players that you have to get all of. And so there's no kind of pick and choose. In other challenges from other products, we might expect to see a challenge where we have to put together a team or something where you could pick a first baseman, a second baseman, a third baseman, and a shortstop, or where you have more variety of filling your spot. But we don't have that luxury. It's just you have to get these 8 players for all 3 of the difficulty tiers. And we've been talking about it for months, but not everyone's supply is the same. And so when you have to get 8 out of 8, you can't get 5 out of 8 on the easy tier or 7 out of 8 on the medium tier. So you have to get 8 out of 8 on all 4 tiers. And so all it really comes down to is whether or not you're going to reach for those rarest players from the list. And that's going to mean making that decision of if you want to get a Jordan Alvarez and a Frank Thomas for the most part, those being, you know, the 2 most rare of the 8. And so I'm just happy they have a challenge, and I'm happy that this is something that they want to do and hopefully build off of. Uh, but it needs to be noted that there wasn't much flexibility in completing the challenge. It was just a shopping list, and you get these specific things or not. And so I think that's the main issue that I would have with it. I did go on to complete the challenge. For me, it was personally making the decision that enough of these players still have their Titan week yet to come. And so I'm seeing a potential value in the fact that these are pieces I picked up that I should realistically be able to resell, in a week or a month or whenever their day comes up, and break even on these purchases I made. And essentially, I'll just be collecting the prize from this challenge for free once it's all said and done. But that's assuming that their prices hold up and I'm able to sell for approximately what I paid for them, which, it's a gamble, may not be the case.
Yeah. A lot of good points there. To me, I agree with you. Nice to see, in addition to the ecosystem, right? We've been asking for more ways to engage with our collections, to engage as a community, to be able to use these cards for something, and they're certainly working towards that. I've got the medium tier up on the screen here. This is kind of, so basically the easy tier, for accomplishing that, you'll get 1 pack from lineups 3 through 6. Medium tier, you'll get 2, and the hard tier, you'll get 4 packs. And this medium tier is all based on the 2022 cards, as is the easy tier. The easy tier was uncommon or higher for each card, whereas the medium tier, you need at least a rare. And then going into the hard section here is where we see the 2021 cards get involved a little bit. Judge, Arenado, J-Ram, and Schwarber were the 4 guys that had those 2021. So they used that. It was at any rarity, and those particular cards are not super valuable at the moment, so it didn't exactly point towards the value of 2021 as a whole. But to me, the takeaway here is that they tried something really basic, and it has you can jump off from this in a lot of different directions, and you can, to your point, make it a little bit more flexible if you want to have it based around, have the main thing be a set amount, a particular set and a rarity within that set, or it could be positional or any number of things. They went with player of the month with this one, so you had to have specific players, but I think that there is some speculation that you can do here moving forward, which is fun. That's what we like to do, about how different rarities can come into play and what we might see as other options to point attention back towards the original 21 set. And so I think that they just wanted to see how people engage with this. Did they decide to partake in it, and see what the different issues are that they need to work out with it with a new challenge. So I've been away the last couple weeks. I haven't thought super deep in terms of what I like and don't like about it, but I like, to your point, to just see in general that we're moving in a direction of having more to do with these cards. And that's always going to be a move in the right direction. Giving more activity, more engagement. That's always going to make these collectibles more fun, in my opinion. So, yeah, go ahead.
I was going to say the other thing that we should touch on before we leave the subject of this challenge is one of the big concerns on the Discord when the challenge was announced was that the impact of the prize being packs was that it was going to be too many packs coming back to the marketplace, causing a bit of a disruption with those lineup 3 through 6 prices. And that doesn't seem like it's going to be the case. We kind of crunched the numbers. We looked at the availability of those, because it was kind of gated, kind of bottlenecked by those more rare players. And even if you assume that every copy of a Jordan Alvarez is owned by someone who completed every level of the set, it still doesn't work out to be that many total packs of cards. And so we're estimating it'll probably be less than 500 packs getting delivered as prizes. It possibly even less. It just, it's not going to be thousands upon thousands of those lineup packs being unvaulted. It's going to be a few, and it may cause some temporary disruption on those pack prices if everyone who won immediately rushes to list those packs on the marketplace. Or it might help some people find some lineup 3 through 6 Titan pieces with the 7 or 4 or 2 or 1 packs that they get. But it's not going to be a huge amount of packs when it's all said and done. It would be nice if they would have just maybe created a new NFT to reward to the different levels instead of unvaulting these packs. But as far as rewards go, it's easy enough. It has some clear value. You can see that people are still purchasing those packs pretty regularly. And because it was difficult enough to complete this challenge, it's not going to be a huge number, not going to be too upsetting.
Well, I think that we've learned two things so far about what Candy intends to do with these leadoff series packs. And one is that they intend to distribute them, but two is that they intend to distribute them slowly, which is what we've been asking for. So I think that while, yes, it would be cool to have a unique NFT as a challenge for this or any other, to have as a reward for this challenge or any other challenge would be nice, but they're making it clear that they're going to find a way to distribute these leadoff series packs. And they're doing it in a lot of different ways. We've got the weekly Titan reward it's kind of a blind reward. Nobody knows what the criteria is going into it. And then we find out who those people are for burning the most epics or cores or players from a given lineup, etc. We're now seeing things of this nature. And I think that, as you've crunched the numbers on this and we've looked at the numbers on those weekly Titan challenges, they're being distributed at a slow enough rate that it's not material. We're not getting a huge influx of epics specifically, which is really important. And I think that they're doing what we've asked as a community, not just you and I, but all the sentiment that we see in Discord. We've seen specific questions being asked by the community managers and, inquiring about whether or not people want to see those packs become more readily available prior to Titan burning coming to a conclusion. And so far, the community has said, don't do that. And so far, Candy has not done that. And to me, that's the key takeaway. They are going to distribute these packs, but so far they're doing it tastefully, and I'm cool with how they're doing it with these player of the month challenges as well. So I think that we'll leave that right there. But we also are going to talk about the Cal Ripken Jr. drop. And what we have with that are packs that continue to be significantly more valuable than what they dropped for. And these packs were retail $25 a pack. We saw them go as high as $120, $130, something like that. And that was prior to the epics having the snapshot of the epics being taken for the real life autograph being sent out for all the epic holders of Cal Ripken Jr. But the current listings of these are still sitting at $80. And so because of that, we've basically seen the most successful pack drop since the 2021
Mhm.
All-Stars. And unfortunately, I didn't get a whole big exposure to it, but this is great. I mean, I can't be upset about it. Yeah, I missed a little bit. I only bought 3 of these packs, but happy for anybody that bought more, and also more importantly, happy that Candy succeeded in dropping something that captured people's attention. It was a different style with the mystery boxes. It was a single player. They had the IRL autograph attached to the epics. They gave people a reason to rip them, and that is making the supply go away quickly. So a lot of things were done in a new format, and it worked, and people felt that they were valuable, and so they sold out instantly on the primary, and they've continued to hold tremendous value on the secondary as well.
Yeah, not only that, I mean, it's clear that we weren't expecting it either because you can see when we were recording a couple weeks ago that it surprises us that they sold out as quickly as they did. And, we were surprised when they were holding a $50 value. Even just doubling caught us by surprise. And then they went on to double again and hold those prices. But there's definitely something to be said about that kind of smaller price point. Just the $25 is, it's not nothing, but it's enough to get people kind of more willing to give it a rip and go for it. And the fact that you only had 7 days to rip or not to rip kind of put people on a timer. Kind of creates a little bit of that FOMO of that time crunch of decision making, if you're gonna sell your pack or go for the epic. And so I think if we could see something like that kind of moving forward, where not only do they set a deadline, but it's kind of a close deadline, I think that could definitely help. But it is still a little confusing to see these packs juxtaposed with the Hall of Fame packs, because with the Cal box you have one NFT of any rarity from costing $25. And with those Hall of Fame 10 packs, you have 10 NFTs of any rarity that cost $250. You're still paying the same price per NFT, and these quadrupled in price in a matter of hours. And the Hall of Fame 10 packs are still sitting right at about retail price. So I'm still kind of scratching my head a little bit trying to figure that one out, but it could just be everything else that was associated with the Cal drop, as you said, with the real life autograph, with that 7 day timer, to kind of put people under the gun. That might be all there is to it. Um, but it is still a little surprising to see just how different they are in terms of their value after the fact.
Yeah, I think especially given the fact that the contents of the Hall of Fame 10 icon packs are just so premium in terms of the guaranteed rarities that you're going to get in there. I agree with you. It's still a bit of a head scratcher in comparison, but I do think that it comes down to the fact that they just really hit so many different angles of appeal with these. It was, you can't overlook the fact that the $25 price point on the original pack is just, that's super low. It's a no-brainer for people to buy those. You had the snapshot being taken for the real life autograph on the 50 epics, but it wasn't just that. It was also 170 plaque NFTs going out to anybody
Mm-hmm.
holding any rarity. So now you've got a whole bunch of people that want to be holding at least one, and that, it's only one card per pack. So now you've increased the floor with people wanting to hold those for that reward. And when you've got all of those different layers to it, there's reasons to buy and hold packs. There's reason to buy and hold cards. And it was also Cal Ripken Jr., and that doesn't hurt
Yeah.
either. So it was a
Mm-hmm.
good player. You can't overlook that. This wouldn't have worked with every single player. They picked a good player to do it with. He also had huge involvement. They had good
Mm-hmm.
marketing materials with him. He was somebody that was clearly into it and embracing it. They dropped it on his birthday. I mean, there was just a lot. There was a lot that was right here. And so kudos to Candy. And shout out to everybody that made the good decision to invest in this on a heavier level. So I am looking forward to seeing more unique drops like this. I know that obviously we need to see the right balance of volume when it comes to the candy drops, but as I've said in the past, the quantity of drops is not as important as the supply within each one of those drops. And as long as they keep doing things like this that people are excited about, want to pay for, and we see the appreciation on the aftermarket, that's something that it allows everybody to win. Candy wins, the consumer wins, and it maintains the health of this project that gets people interested in and wanting to be involved in something that is like, okay, if I buy this, it's going to appreciate. That looks good, it gets people involved. We saw it with the 21 stuff, and we saw it here. So with that, let's take a look at the Titans. So this was week 8 for the Titan Burn Challenge, and we've got 3 surviving Titans available here, as has been the case with every other week. These are the non-lineups 1 through 3. So all of these guys are from lineups 4, 5, or 6. We did have one guy from lineup 3 this week, which was Vlad, but as we've seen, the 50% volume on the supply in that lineup has been enough to mint out 100 across the board. I think maybe there was one guy that got 99 or something like that, but
Taiwan Walker fell just short.
So,
but yes.
Yeah, so we had Gurriel, Freed, McClanahan, Tyler O'Neill, Chris Sale, and Dansby Swanson all minted out relatively quickly today, within a couple hours. And then Vlad, who is from lineup 3, he minted out as well. But we've got Rizzo, Ty France, and Gary Sanchez all sitting available because there just isn't as much supply there. So I don't know if there's anything in particular that you noticed today. I've got a couple guys coming in here. I did Chris Sale and Shane McClanahan, 2 guys that I had stacked much earlier. So looking forward to grabbing those.
I noticed, first and foremost, that they did not give me a San Francisco Giant again. We're 8 weeks here, and I'm still waiting for my first Giant. There's 5 or 6 out there, depending on whether or not you're counting J.D. Davis or not, since he's a recent addition to the squad. But no, again, I'm going 0 for 8 here. And it was pretty quick to get to those 100 on just about everybody. Even Vlad, being from lineup 3, he hit 100 more quickly than most of the lineup 3 players we've been seeing. Aaron Judge, a month ago, he took a couple hours, and Vlad did it today in about 40 minutes. And so I think that speaks to, not only was he just a bit more affordable than Judge was, but I think more people had been stacking him leading up to today, that it just wasn't as difficult to bridge the gap, to finish the job, to get those last 10 or so mints after he kind of slowed down. He rushed to 90 mints pretty quickly, and there was just enough supply, enough people using today as their opportunity to sell their Vlad copies to get those last 11 or 12 minutes done within about 40 minutes. We are looking at potentially a new low with Gary Sanchez. He's sitting at 31 right now, and the current low is Grichuk. I believe he's at 46. Yeah, Randall Grichuk from lineup 6 hit 46 about a month ago. And Gary Sanchez, he could rival that, sitting at just 31 at the moment, with still a couple days to go. Things could change, but there's just not a lot of listings. When I was looking earlier, across all 4 rarities, Gary Sanchez only had about 14 listings. And so unless you're sitting on points, it's going to be difficult to find them on the marketplace. Even though some of the points that are there aren't too terribly priced, there's just not enough of them. And so it could be difficult for him to make a run at that 46 mark that Grichuk set. In addition to that, he's going to have one less day to do it. We had Labor Day this Monday, and so they didn't start the Titan Mint on Monday as they usually have. It started earlier on September 6th, Tuesday, and it's still going to end at the same time on Thursday. So we just have one less day for Titans this week for them to actually go through the minting process. And so for anyone who made a speculative play on Gary Sanchez, they could be sitting on a new low point in terms of Titans minted this week. But other than that, it's been pretty much business as usual. If you were holding extra copies of lineup one or lineup two, you either needed to sell them quickly because there's a lot of competition to sell, or you needed to mint them quickly because they're not going to last too long before they hit that 100. And if you're holding someone from 4, 5, and 6, you've got more flexibility. You can wait until Wednesday, Thursday evening to make that decision.
Yeah, good point there. Anybody from lineups 1 and 2, when you see those come out on Mondays or today, Tuesday, you want to make your moves on those quickly because they mint out quickly, which means either you need to get that Titan before they're gone, or you need to sell them before people run out of a reason to buy them. So I just pulled up the Gary Sanchez stats here, and to your point, it's just ridiculous to look at, right? You've got 0 uncommon listings, so those are gone. You've got a core listed at 8 here, and let's see.
6 cores total.
Yeah, 6 cores, so 8, 850, 10, 10, 15, so it's like, and then a rare is 80 while an epic is 100. So that $100 epic is probably your best bet at the moment, but then you got to buy 4 of these cores. So really there's only one Titan available for people at the moment, which is this $100 epic, and scoop up these 4 semi-reasonable cores. But that just shows that it just gets real crazy real fast with these later lineups, because nobody's going to buy an $80 rare. This card is not going to be purchased. It just doesn't make sense when there's an epic sitting there for $100 and this is worth 15 points. So the floors are crazy, and it gets to a point where people are just going to decide not to buy it at all. And so that's the only thing that is worth note. If you're sitting on lineup 4 through 6 cards that you want to sell, there's a point where there's going to be a few people that decide to go and buy day of. But if you want to make a play on somebody from lineups 4 through 6, I suspect that people are starting to catch on to the fact that if you want to do that, you got to do it in advance, because you're either going to be up against a ridiculous rising floor, or you're just going to have no volume whatsoever. And so we're not seeing the same meteoric rise of actual sales, at least from what I'm noticing so far, because I think people are just catching on to the fact that day of is not your best bet when it comes to these later lineups. So people are going to learn a little bit more each week and notice the same patterns that we're noticing in some way, shape, or form, and then it leads to these crazy floor prices like this. So so those are interesting to look at. We'll see where Gary ends up. Was there anything in particular of the Titans that got airdropped last week that we wanted to touch on at all? I'm trying to forget who we got here. I got my native Valdi. That was the only one. Let's see. What was done last week?
Adley Rutschman was the big name last week.
Right.
Only 56 of him got made. And looking through some of the regular suspects accounts of people who tend to mint more, we do have an account that minted, I believe, 12 Adleys.
Wow.
Let me double check that. 1 second while I pull that up. But I believe, yeah, that's one account holding 12 of those Adley Rutschmans, really pushing that effective supply, down below 50 there pretty easily. But one thing about Titans worth mentioning is earlier today in Discord, the user Yowzers posted some information, just some observations he's had about the cost of Titans the day of versus their current floor prices, and he's got some information about the majority of them are still worth more than they cost to put together. But then, of course, some of them are losing by those day of purchase prices. You have people like Ronald Acuna, where he cost over $400 the day of, and his current floor price is $316. But then you have other winners where J Rod, even as high as his prices got, where people were minting in the ballpark of $850, $900, his floor price is sitting at 1200. Now he hasn't had a sale at 1200 yet, but that still speaks to the fact that some of these players, their Titans, do still have intrinsic value that exceeds their day of costs.
Trying to pull one up here. There we go. Julio Rodriguez, 4 listed. Wow, that's the low. Yeah, 4 listed with the low being 1,500. Sales being sales between 7 and 800 on 3 of those. No Adley sales so far with the floor sitting at 750. But yeah, these are 2 of the coolest ones to be looking at for sure. Very very intriguing cards. 2 legitimate rookie cards. Arguably the top 2 rookie cards in this entire set.
Just a small correction. That account that I was looking at, they didn't mint 12 Adleys. They minted 13. And, kind of rightly so, they ended up with the number 1 Adley Rutschman Titan, which only seems fair with as many as they strung together there. But I mean, yeah, it was another good week for Titans last week with just Adley and Freddie Peralta from lineups 6 and 4 respectively, falling below that 100 mint threshold, and everyone else cleared 100 easily. And again, if you purchased those players a month ago, 2 months ago, then you came out ahead. You spent less than they're currently worth. And so as long as you're not really chasing that high of minting them the week of, it doesn't seem like there's a whole lot of risk to picking a Titan, looking for some bargains in advance and pricing one out. And someday, I hope to know what it feels like to mint a San Francisco Giants Titan, and so I can participate as well. I have made a couple Titans now of just players I happen to have extra points of, but it's fine. I'm glad I have them. They're nothing special. I want my guys, and so hopefully I'll get those sooner rather than later.
Yeah, understandable. For sure, the fun of these is getting the guys that you really care about. I've been fortunate to get 3 of my socks already, plus a bunch of others. I think I've minted like 6 or 7 at this point, including one of those Acuñas. Luckily, I got mine before it cost $400, so I'm not too worried about the floor price at the moment. One quick thing before we go is that we did get a sneak peek of the Griffey Chaser today that's going to go out to anybody that completes the Hall of Fame set. The Hall of Fame set consists of the 30 cards in that set as well as 1 Cal Ripken card, so 31 cards total, any rarity. I don't have a graphic pulled up right here, but they look similar to the Ohtani and J-Rod Chasers. It's that same type of nugget, but it's wooden instead of metal, which is cool. So it looks really sharp. When is the snapshot on that, David?
That's going to be next Wednesday on September 14th. And so, this episode is going to be coming out on the 7th, so people still have about a week left if they want to put that set together for that horizontal Griffey Chaser.
Take a look at that. Take a look at the Cal stuff. Still continues to be really sharp looking cards, but with that, I think that does it. We appreciate everyone being here. Be here again next week. Try not to take another week off in the near future. But my name is Nate. That's David. This is the Talkin Candy weekly update. We will see you in the next one.